up? It's Grace, and right now I'm going to be doing my favorite videos to film always, and that is a book haul. I'm working with Disney-Hyperion for this video on the book Wild Man by J.C. Giger, I think. This video does include paid promotion with Disney-Hyperion. I've gotten quite a few books since my last book haul, and some of them I have gotten so long ago and have just forgot to put them in book hauls because I kind of have them in, you know, certain shelves where it's more of decorative, and I always forget that it's there. Usually when I get new books, I place them like in the corner or something so they pile up until the end of the month so I can do a book haul. But if I put them somewhere else, I just forget about them and I'm like, whoops, need to put that in a book haul. Some of these books I got like one of them I got way back, I think in December. But anyway, I'm very excited to talk about them, so let's get right on into it. So since I am working with Disney-Hyperion for this video, the first book I'm going to talk about is Wild Man, and by J.C. Giger. Okay, probably I'm saying that wrong. This book actually comes out today, which is June 6th. So what Wild Man is about is we follow a high school kid. His name is Lance, and he's valedictorian. He's the first chair trumpet player. He's the scholarship winner. Basically, he has high school in the bag. He has a really bright future. But one day when he's driving pretty much in the middle of nowhere in kind of like a ho-dunk town, his car breaks down and he has to go into town and ask for help. And in this town, nobody knows his name. They don't know who he is, and you know, where he lives, he's known as being, you know, the valedictorian, the straight A student, the nice kid. And so when he's stuck in this small town, nobody knows who he is. He could be a delinquent, a traveler, or a maniac, and nobody knows. And one of the townspeople actually call him a wild man, which is hence the name of this book. And this name kind of sparks a question in his mind if where his life is going is where he wants it to be. He's starting to realize that he can branch out and maybe not be this straight A perfect kid, and maybe he could travel and do a bunch of other things that he never thought was possible. This book kind of gives me some Into the Wild feels, which I absolutely love that book. I think the movie is actually a lot better, but I absolutely love the story and everything about Chris McCandless and what he represented. And it's still that he is a big question. Nobody really knows why he did what he did, but I get this feeling when I read the synopsis for this book, and I just feel like it's gonna be a great self-discovery story, and I'm always a sucker for those, so yes. The next book I actually received unsolicited by Penguin Teen, and it actually was sent to my mom's house, so when I went over there recently, she actually had it under bed, and it must have been there for a while because she forgot about it and was like, oh, Grace, yeah, this is for you. And that is the collector's edition, or the 50th anniversary edition of The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. This book is actually my sister Jessica's favorite book. She says that she read it in high school and it really just sparked her interest in a lot of things. I have not read this, but if you don't know what it is about, you know the saying, stay gold, pony boy, this is where that saying comes from. So I will definitely read this. I know that it involves high school kids. I know that S.E. Hinton, she was a teenager herself when she wrote this book, which is so interesting. I love that. What better perspective to get a teenager's perspective than a teenager? And another cool thing that came with this book was these photos. They are never before seen photos of the movie, which I have also not seen, but they're just black and white photos, which I love very, very much. Just like the whole vintage feel of them. I don't know who these actors are, but this woman here looks exactly like my great aunt Dot, which is uncanny actually the more I look at it. I'm probably gonna hang these up just because they're so interesting, and I'm gonna read the book and watch the movie. And then here's a letter from Susie to her agent, which is really awesome. It's so bright you can't see. And the next book that I got at Barnes & Noble, and that is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. This is the second book in the Bone season. I don't know how large of a series it's gonna be, but I had read the first book, The Bone season, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and absolutely loved it. It's very confusing trying to describe that book. It's set in the future. The main character, she's a dream walker, a dreamscaper. She basically can jump dreams, and it's illegal, so she meets up with this resistance, and then like the bad people catch her and they try to train her because she has the potential to be like a really great soldier. It's all over the place, like how I'm saying it, because kind of the book in itself is a little bit all over the place because there's so much going on, but it's so interesting. It's still very clear in my mind So I was there and I saw the second book and I'm like, hey, I want to finish that series. It is going to be large and it is kind of, the beginning is a little bit slow, a little bit dense because there's a lot of information that you need to take in, but it's really an intricate and complex series where I love reading books where I'm just like, how did the author even come up with this? And this is a series in which that happens for me. I'm just like, how there's so many different angles the story can take, and it's just very interesting. But yes, I am definitely going to be reading this sometime, you know, whenever I feel like it. The next book I also got Barnes & Noble, and that is The Darkest Hour by Tony, I'm gonna butcher this, but Schmaker? I do not know. But this is a World War II novel set in London in 1946, and the Nazis have won the war, so they now occupy Great Britain. It's kind of a different take on the World War II, as if like the Nazi powers won. And we follow a guy named John Henry, and he is a very diplomatic person. He was a former police sergeant. He's a man accustomed to obeying commands, but he's assigned to a job he didn't ask for, and in this job he's asked to round up Jews, deporting them, men, women, and families. And it's not just, you know, people he doesn't know, it's people that he grew up with that he's being asked to deport to, you know, work camps. And one day he finds a boy hiding in an abandoned building, and he's faced with the decision to do something or look the other way, but in whatever he chooses, it's probably not going to be a good outcome. But it just sounds really awesome and very action-filled, and I just think it sounds really interesting. Also, I looked up it on Goodreads and it has phenomenal reviews. And I believe there's a sequel, or if it's not a sequel, it's like a companion novel to this. And the author is very educated in this time period, which I'm always, you know, I always appreciate. But I am very much looking forward to reading this one. The next book I got from Penguin, a Random House. I'm not going to go too into depth because I have a whole separate review on it. I read it, and that is The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr. But we follow a girl who, she doesn't have the component in her brain to form new memories. One day she kisses this guy and she wakes up with that new memory. She's never formed a new memory besides that, or since she was like really young. So it's this crazy thing that she has this new memory, and it's her journey on trying to find out who she is, because I believe she's like 17, but she has the brain of like an 8-year-old when she lost her ability to form new memories. So it is like to the highest degree of a coming of age novel, because it's like a girl going from 8 to 16, 17. But I really enjoyed it. If you want to check out my separate review, I will link it on down below. The next book I got on a recommendation of Sophie over at Sophie's Series. I will link her channel down below. I absolutely love her. And that is Hunted by Megan Spooner, who wrote the I forget the name of the book. These Broken Stars. She co-authored it with Amy Kaufman, and I really enjoyed that book, so that's another reason why I got this. And this is, I believe, a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So we follow a girl named Yeva, and her father is this great hunter, and growing up she's always wanted to hunt and kind of uncover the mysteries of this forest that her father had talked about growing up, I believe. They live in a castle, and so they kind of move away from the woods. But then when her father loses his fortune, they move back to the outskirts of town, and Yeva, she's relieved to kind of be out of the pressures of high society and to kind of have the freedom to hunt. And while she's there, since her father had lost his fortune, it kind of messes with his mind and he goes missing, and she goes on the journey to go find him in this forest, which has all these untold secrets. It just sounds really awesome, and I love like huntresses. That's just a guilty pleasure of mine that I'm not guilty about. I mean, just in the sense that if there's a huntress in a book, I'm probably going to get that book, and I feel like it's just gonna be a fun read. The next book I got unsolicited, and that is Once and For All by Sarah Dessen. This goes on sale this month if it hasn't been released yet. Dang, that is bright. But I have read a Sarah Dessen book, and I did enjoy it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I know that she's like this, like everyone loves her. She has great contemporary novels. I think the one that I read just probably wasn't the best one. It still was really enjoyable, and I would recommend it. I am blanking on the name, but it's the one with the carousel on the cover. But from what this book, you know, says on the synopsis, it kind of just sounds like a girl who she doesn't believe in love really, but Ambrose, who I believe is the guy, believes in the dating game, but he avoids any lasting commitments. And then he meets Luna, I think her name is, and that kind of sparks different feelings and stuff like that. It just sounds cute and fluffy and a great springy summer read. And the last book I got back in December, and it's been on my shelf looking really pretty, and I forgot about it because it's just been a decor item, but I do want to read it. Probably I won't read this edition because it's too pretty, but it is The Snow Queen and Other Winter Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. He is the king of writing very weird, very twisted, kind of dark fairy tales. If you didn't know, a lot of the Disney princesses are inspired by his stories. Obviously they're twisted a bit because you can't really use them because they're not that family friendly. But The Snow Queen, I believe, was the inspiration of Frozen. It is just such a gorgeous edition. And the spine and the back, all the detailing. And the pages are silver, and it just is so beautiful. So that was yet another book haul. I get a lot of books, and you know, I'm currently reading Lord of Shadows right now. I'm more than halfway through, and I've been reading it for a little bit over a week now, but it is so good, and I'm so happy that I'm reading it slow, because with the other books in, like, you know, the Mortal Instruments and the Dark Artifices and Infernal Devices, I read like all of those books in a day, and while it was extremely enjoyable, I wish I had like savored it more, and I'm definitely savoring this book. And I just believe that Cassandra Clare is getting so great with every book she releases. It's like she's just also an alien because she's so good at writing. What are you guys reading? I would love to know. And if you have read any of these books and you want to tell me your opinions, your thoughts, if you hated them, if you loved them, I'd love to know. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.